Hello there. As some of you may know, those of you who watch a lot of my videos, I have a new book that's due to be released on the 10th of December called The Hand That Pulls You Under. And I just wanted to make a video today kind of taking you behind the scenes and showing you all of the work that's gone into it, because I do put a tremendous amount of work into my books and most people don't get to see that side of things, so I thought it might be interesting to show you everything that's gone into the book so far and what I've had to do to get it published and to actually get it on Amazon and Smashwords and stuff. So here we go. Well, for me personally, the writing process all starts with this little thing here, my fountain pen. And I mention this to you because, as far as I can tell, after speaking with some other authors on not YouTube, Facebook and stuff, not many people write their first drafts on paper anymore. Most people just go straight to their laptop and type it up. But for me, that's not really writing. For me, I like to sit in a coffee shop. I like to have a cup of tea in front of me, a notepad and a pen, and I'll write the first draft of the story on paper. It takes a long time. I spend about 2 weeks on it, just on the first draft. But it's proper writing. There's writing and then there's typing. For me, writing is writing on paper, and I just sit there, I let the thoughts come and I just write them down. I usually use purple ink, funnily enough. I just write them down on paper, I let the ideas come. I know that a lot of the writing that I'm putting down will end up being changed and edited, but I just put the ideas down on paper using this little thing here. I love it. And it's not an expensive pen, by the way. It might have a gold tip, but I just paid about £2 for this thing. And I write all my first drafts using this thing here. It's how I enjoy doing it. And the first draft, by the way, is pretty much the only draft that I enjoy writing. After the first draft comes a second draft, and that's typing. I then have to type it up on my laptop. And then after that comes the third draft, which is looking for mistakes and checking for grammar and going through sentence after sentence, checking that it's all right and perfect and stuff. And it actually becomes a form of torture. So that the first draft is the only one for me that's truly relaxing and therapeutic. After that, it becomes torture. So anyway, this is how it all starts off, pen on paper. I'm now going to show you a few of these, I'm now going to show you all of these first drafts. There are 10 stories in a book, and I've got every first draft in a notepad to show you right now. Here we go. So, as mentioned earlier, I write out all of my first drafts on paper, on notepad. I've got them all laid out here. 10 notepads, 10 stories in total. I write them all out in purple ink usually. Every story gets written down using purple ink with my trusty fountain pen. This one's called Sadistic Climax. Every single first draft probably takes me around 2 or 3 weeks. I don't rush them. I write them out for about 2 or 3 weeks, writing out the first draft of the story. This is a story called Guilt Trip. This is one of my favourites actually. I write them all out on paper, and then once I've finished with that, I usually use a voice recording app, and I kind of read the stories out and record myself reading them. And then once I've got the recording, then I can type it up on my laptop. But it all starts with the first draft on paper. This is me sitting in a coffee shop writing, I believe it was, which one was it? Yeah, I was writing this one actually. The House of Human Pleasures. I think I was sitting in Starbucks somewhere, writing the first draft of this one. So that's the first stage. I also do my own artwork for the book. The book has 4 drawings. We have a skull with numbers for eyes. What on earth could that be about? We have a boy sitting in a room with markings on the walls. Very intriguing. And hello, what's this? A bit of erotica, perhaps? More erotica? What on earth could these stories be about, eh? Well, this is how it all begins. Pen on paper and pencil on paper. This is basically the book in its infant form, right there. Just thought I'd show you that. You may be wondering what these stories are actually about. The subtitle of the book is Tales of Absurdity and Lunacy, so you may be forgiven for kind of wondering what the hell this book is really about and stuff. So I just want to give you a quick rundown of the stories that are contained in the book. There are 10 stories in total, and the first story is called The Residents of Hilltop Harrows. This is a kind of weird tale about an abandoned factory full of eccentric squatters. It's about a man who becomes homeless, and then he's looking for somewhere to live, and he ends up living in this abandoned factory, and he gets introduced to all of these really weird characters. It's kind of like a surreal, bizarre tale about the weirdest characters that you can imagine. Story number 2 is called Buried Memory. This one's got a kind of sci-fi element to it. It's about a man who's going through a tough time in life, and he goes to this clinic where you can kind of erase your old memories and upload some new memories from a donor, like donor memories, and everything's going fine. His life gets better. But then he starts having these strange dreams, and he starts to wonder whether these dreams are tied into this person's memories he's inherited. Story number 3 is a story called The Drifter, and this one is about an urban legend of a kind of wandering man who's wandered the earth for thousands thousands of years, and a kind of amateur film crew decide to make a documentary about him, and they actually travel to Vietnam, which is the last place he was seen at, to try and get some footage of him, and they actually managed to find him, and the truth about this person is finally revealed. It's probably a favourite of mine, The Drifter. Number 4 is a story called Sadistic Climax. This is also, I suppose, a sci-fi story. It's about a race of advanced beings who fly through space, and they've got everything that they can ever want. They live a life of luxury. They're kind of like, they've uploaded their consciousness into a machine, and so they don't need to eat or drink or anything. They can just enjoy existence, and they kind of live every day experiencing as much pleasure as they can. But they've developed this kind of warped bloodlust, where they kind of get their kicks from watching other beings suffer. Sadistic climax, and there's also a big like a big orgy scene in this story as well. Number 5 is a story called Be Careful What You Wish For. This story is actually influenced by my experience as a self-published author, and my experience as how hard it can be to get your work out there. It's about a self-published author who tries to create controversy for his book. He reflects that a lot of these famous books, like The Catcher in the Rye or A Clockwork Orange or Fight Club, they've all got controversy surrounding them. For example, The Catcher in the Rye has got 2 assassination attempts linked to it. I think the man who killed John Lennon had a copy of The Catcher in the Rye in his coat pocket. So this character in the story actually goes to extreme lengths to kind of create that buzz for his book. And he actually ends up killing somebody just to make his book famous. That's what that one's about. The next story is called Pussy Payback, and this is the one story in the book that's actually based on a true story, and it's something that happened to me as a young boy. It's a story about a dead cat. I can't really explain it too much without giving it away, but it's a good one. The next story is called The Infinite Joyride, and this one is a kind of erotic sci-fi story, and it's about a group of swingers on a pleasure cruise flying through space. And there's lots of sexual scenes in it, and they kind of get introduced to this pleasure chair where you can plug yourself in and experience the ultimate pleasure. I think this is a kind of love it or hate it story, so it'll be interesting to see what you think of this one. Next story number 8 is called Guilt Trip. This is just full out horror. This is about a kind of teenage prank gone wrong. It involves somebody taking an overdose of LSD and then being left alone in this abandoned college this time. Full out horror. I think you might like this one if you're a fan of like gory horror. Story number 9 in the book is a story called Planetary Perpetrator. This is it's about an AI judge who's been given complete control of a courtroom and complete control of a manslaughter case, and it looks at all of the facts. It speaks to all of the witnesses and the people involved in the case, and then it's left alone to kind of decide what the verdict is. Again, I can't say any more than that, but I think you might find this one interesting. It's very, very unique. And number 10, story number 10 in the book. I've just gone all out with this one. I just wanted to write a story that is just full on pornographic, erotic, shocking, offensive, you name it. I just didn't want to hold back with this one at all. It's called The House of Human Pleasures, and it's about 2 people, a man and a woman. They're a couple, and they've got this kind of warped sex drive, and they travel around the world hiring prostitutes to join them, and they're into like violent sex, BDSM, you name it. And they actually end up in Vietnam, and they hear about this mansion where orgies take place, and so they travel to this mansion to take part in this big sex party, this sex club, and everything gets really bizarre and everything gets really, really surreal. It's one of my best stories, in my opinion. It's guaranteed to offend some people, which I don't really care about. I can't wait to see what you think of this one. You might just think, what the hell is going on here? Or you might think, yes, this is the story I've been waiting for. I just really don't know. I really don't know what you're going to think of it, alright? So anyway, those are the 10 stories that are in the book, and that's what they're all about. So, this book is being released on the 10th of December, but it's available for pre-order right now on Amazon and Smashwords. So you can pre-order the book now and actually get the content on the release date. However, I just want to let you know that I'm going to be doing something called a pre-sale on Smashwords. A pre-sale is different than a pre-order in the sense that with a pre-sale you can actually get the book and get the content before the release date. It's something that only Smashwords does, as far as I know, and I'm going to be generating a certain amount of pre-sale codes, and if you want to get your hands on one of these codes and actually get to read the book before the release date, just become a member of my site, jamesflynn.org, and I'll be sending an email out to all of my site members on this date. So just keep an eye out for an email on this particular date, and you'll be given instructions on how to get a pre-sale code from Smashwords, okay? I just want to make you aware of that because it's a good little feature I'm doing. You'll be able to get the book earlier than the 10th of December. Alright, so this is it. You've seen what's happened behind the scenes. You've seen the writing process, and hopefully the book takes your fancy. If you fancy giving it a go, there you go. You can pre-order it, or you can look out for one of these pre-sale codes. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for watching, and until my next video, try to have a great day on this odd, fascinating, peculiar rock we call Earth. Thank you. Goodbye.